What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 80s Metalhead Show. I have a very, very special guest, bassist of Cinderella, Eric Brittingham. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Busy. I have two teenage daughters now, both in high school, so it keeps me pretty busy. But I'm not really playing a lot of music. I'm still writing and record some things from time to time, but that's about it.
Was your last project with Brett Michaels, or was there something before or after that?
Yeah. I was playing with Brett for about 5 years. He needed a bass player and reached out. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went out. It was a lot of fun. It was a good group of guys, and he plays big shows. So it was it was a good time. But then after COVID, I was just like, with all the restrictions, it just was such a drag. Like traveling, I just told him I can't do it anymore. And then I semi-retired, I guess.
But you just mentioned just then, you're starting to record your own stuff. I was going to ask that like later in the interview, but if you want to talk about that now, go ahead.
Oh, not much really. I mean, you get ideas and they just come out. So I'll just, it's like sometimes I record them, sometimes I don't, and if they're worth keeping, I'll remember them. But I mean, for the most part, it's just for my own enjoyment and whatever. Not really have any plans to to record and put anything out. But I may eventually. I don't know.
So you're a bit unsure on like what you want to do on the music side. You're just pretty happy being like family orientated and just playing for fun.
Pretty much. I do these benefit shows with my friend Bruce Sisk, about once a year, and I think this upcoming one that we've been promoting is, that's pretty much, and that's just a fun time. I get together with my ex-bandmate Pete Evick from Brett Michaels' band, and we have Rhett Beach. The three of us are kind of like the staple in the Rock for Hope shows, and we always add like different drummers. This upcoming one, we have George Lynch sitting in, and it's a really cool thing because we just do our acoustic thing, and George just plugs in, has his pedal board and an amp, and he'll just play what he wants to play along with whatever we're playing. It's pretty avant-garde, but it's pretty cool.
Yes, I wanted to just get started on that the Rock for Charity event. Like you said, big names there. Yourself, George, Pete Evick, Trickster's going to be there, I believe, hosted by Tommy London.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of prizes. But there's one major prize that you're giving away. Do you want to share?
Yeah. I'm just, besides donating my time and doing these shows, I just wanted to give something back. And I had this plaque, like we were presented. It was actually the album release party for the Heartbreak Station record. We were presented these plaques from our record label, just commemorating 3 million records sold of the Night Songs record and the Long Cold Winter record. And, and I've had it for, what is it now, like 30, 35 years. And honestly, it was falling apart. And I asked Bruce, I was like, can we reframe this and, make it an auction item or something? He said, sure. So he took it and he had it rematted, reframed. It looks great, but it is the original plaque that was presented to us, and each of the band members got one, and I think our manager, and that was it. There was I think 5 of them made. So it's like pretty rare, but it's not an official RIAA platinum record. It was just a commemorative plaque, but it's the biggest, most impressive one we ever got. So I was like, but like I said, it was falling apart. Bruce kind of brought it back to life, and it looks great. And I just hope. Well, I mean, I have no hope about it. There's one lucky person's going to actually get it. And so, but all the money goes to a good cause. This Bruce's charity was the it's a treatment relief
Health Corp.
.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, Health Corps. I know. I was like, Bruce, can you shorten that? He said, well, it's my charity. It's registered. So I was like, all right, well, so and we started calling our shows Rock for Hope, which is cool. And what's really good about this charity, Bruce, when he encounters somebody, be it a friend or just somebody he just happened that really needs help, he makes that like the whole focus of his charity, and that's those. The last one we did was a friend of mine who was dying of cancer, and he had exhausted all of his money in treatment, and he was he was stage 4, and we did a benefit concert for him, and unfortunately a couple days after the concert he passed away. But the money we raised helped his widow like pay for the funeral and actually get herself like started back in a new life without her husband, which was this is the type of things that we do. It's not like we're giving to some big organization, and a lot of these charity things they're only required by law like to give 10% of it to the actual cause.
Yeah,
and
I've seen an article like that.
Yeah, this 100% of what we raise goes to it, and on top of that, which he probably doesn't like me saying, but Bruce shells out a ton of money out of his own pocket for these things. So he makes sure that who we're doing this for gets taken care of, and that's what we're doing. And in this case, it was a young man who was killed in a motorcycle accident with a 6-year-old son and I guess his fiance, and they were just left. They didn't even have money for funeral or anything, and Bruce paid for that. Now we're doing this charity like to help her and her son out. So these are the type of things that we do.
I've talked to Bruce over the last few days. He seems like a really genuine guy, and his organization and what he's built, it's really incredible. Like I said, the stories I've heard is amazing. He's a really, really good guy. And what you're doing also is amazing. Like, you don't have to put your plaque up, but it's really nice that you're putting that up and giving your time to these events. And so is the other guys, like I said, George, Pete, and the rest of the guys. And how can the people that are interested in, donating to the charity get a hold of your plaque?
Okay, just go to the treatmentrelief.org, and that's Bruce's website, and everything's on there. And you click on the link for the raffles. Has a guitar. It's like was it like a 1986 or 89 Kramer?
Yeah, 1989 Kramer.
And it's signed, played, and he's raffling that off, or raffling off the plaque. So it's that's the easiest way. There's also if you're on Facebook, you can go to the Rock for Hope page, and there's a link for it. Also, it's the raffle is through Rally Up, so it's a third party. So all the names entered, like they generate the winner. We have nothing to do with it on that end. It's sort of like a GoFundMe, but it's a raffle,
I will put all the descriptions and links to the charity when you can donate, guys, in the description, or you can just check out my Instagram page, 80s Metalheads, and check the story. You can find out all the info on there, or Eric's page, and go give them a follow. And they do incredible things, like I said, and they, like Eric was saying before, every year they do something massive and give away cool prizes. Yeah. So definitely go get you could win something amazing. I mean, I would love to win what Eric is putting up. And are you giving away you're doing a phone call also? Is that correct?
Yeah. I'll be personally calling whoever wins it. And if they don't answer, I'll just call back.
Just keep calling until they answer.
Right, exactly. So, but I want to like add too with like Bruce, how I got involved with him was he was actually friends with my drummer in the Bret Michaels band. Mike Bailey was their drummer at the time, and they were friends. And my dog, one of my older daughters was fighting lymphoma cancer, and we did a benefit show for her. And Bruce is a furniture maker. He made a dining room set that was like a Les Paul, like base. All the chairs like looked like Les Pauls, and the table looked like a fretboard. It was pretty cool, and he donated that for free. And after that, him and I started talking, and he had the idea of doing, benefit shows like once a year, like, for his charity. And that's how it all got started. He helped me, so I've been helping him every year since.
And where is the acoustic show going to be played at? Just for people that wanted to go.
It's in Green Bay, Wisconsin, at the Epic Event Center. It's a really cool venue. A friend of mine, Ryan Vandersanden, he runs the place, books the acts. He's also involved in Full Throttle Saloon at Sturgis. And like I said, we've done, this will be the 8th one, and it's just it's kind of laid back, a lot of storytelling, a lot of joking around. We of course drink, so it's like the more we drink, the more stories come out, and you never know where that's going to lead. But we always have a good time with it, and I think people who come out to these shows do too. And at the show there'll be other auction items, and different ways like to actually contribute to it. Besides the obvious, like the tickets sales go to it and all that, but there will be other auction items like silent auction sort of things, and we come out, we mingle, so it's sort of, I mean, like your ticket, like to get into the show, it's pretty much like a meet and greet too, because we just kind of just wander around, just talk to people, and it's always a cool, fun event.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. Like, like you said, talk to people, have a few drinks, have a laugh, and it all goes to a good cause at the end of the day, and everyone's doing a great thing. And I hope you guys continue this yearly project and charity work, not project, and maybe do even more in the year, not just the one thing, do multiple things in the year.
Well, that's what we're doing, and it seems like like every time it gets a little better, and we're learning how to get the word out more, and we want to just build this thing, and and what's great about this charity is it isn't like a blanketed charity. It's like it's for specific people, and just like I said, Bruce, he happened to witness the accident. That's how this happened. He was on his way to Florida, and this motorcycle blasted past him, and 5 minutes later, he comes upon the scene. So, and he researched like what happened and reached out to the family, and that's how these things happen. He just kind of stumbles upon things, and he's like, okay, I'm going to help this person out, and that's what he does. Makes it a really cool charity. It's not like it's for one thing, and all this, and your donations goes in a bunch of pockets. It's like, no, what we raise go to that person.
Bruce, the first few days I talked to him, he doesn't know me, I don't know him, but he was showing me all these pictures and all the stories, and the story you just told, he showed me, I read up on it. It's truly sad, and like what he's witnessed and seen, that's horrible, even for the single parent, the mother, what she must be going through. It's really awful, but it's, like I said, it's amazing what you guys are doing, and if people can donate, that would be really great, because it goes to a good cause. You can, like I said, you can read up on it. Links are going to be in the description or on my Instagram page, so definitely check it out. and it's all going to a good cause, and we all appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
The Moscow Peace Festival, big bands, Cinderella, obviously, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne, Scorpions, big bands playing. How was that for you?
Oh, it was great. It was definitely was an experience. I mean, you have to realize too, this was before the fall of the Berlin Wall too. So it was USSR. It wasn't Russia, and it was during the Cold War. And I mean, subsequently we've been back to Russia. I believe it was back in 2010. So it's a big difference that, you know, like a decade makes in like developing once they, you know, once the wall fell and the fall of, like, you know, the whole, you know, that Cold War era. When we went in '88, it was what you would think it was. Everything was painted gray and kind of bleak looking. It was really weird and like kind of surreal. And then we show up in a plane, like a bunch of like rock guys. It was like, it's like almost like aliens landing on a planet. It was weird, but the whole experience was really cool. The actual show was amazing. I mean, the stage, I think, was at that. Well, I mean, it was one of the biggest stages we played on, and we did, like, Castle Donington, Monsters of Rock, like the previous year, and, you know, in Nuremberg, Germany, and they were big stages, but this stage was like ridiculous. And yeah, we spent, I guess, like a week there doing like promo stuff. I don't think anyone showered because the accommodations. I turned the shower on and the water was brown.
Really?
I was like, ooh, yeah.
Wow.
I don't think I'm gonna. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. The flight home. Yeah. Imagine, like, you know, a plane full of like sweaty rockers who haven't showered in a week. That was interesting.
And there's a lot of
nice
you as well.
Flight too.
There's a lot of you guys. Yeah. Like, and the drinking, partying, you know, the show from the concert, and God knows what you boys went up to.
Yeah, well, it was an anti-drug like message. That whole, you know, there was a charity event too, and it was a thing. But, you know, drinking, I guess, was, you know, and you could buy a bottle of vodka for pretty much like a quarter, like a U.S. quarter.
Yeah, vodka's pretty cheap over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They wanted to keep everyone drunk and silent, and, you know, which is, I mean, it worked out good for us, but but the whole experience, it was great. There was a lot of downtime, you know, and interaction with the other artists, and it was a good time overall.
You were talking about the stage and like how it's completely different to anything you played before. I mean, just looking at it, you know, you got the stars, the white stars, and did it rotate? I believe the stage rotated.
I believe so. The center part of it.
Because I saw Motley Crue
span of it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like that's the only way that you'd be able to change over quick enough. So as one band's playing, like the next band's getting set up and mic'd and all that. So.
Where were you guys on the bill?
Like somewhere in the middle. And it was supposed to be like no actual headliner, but it was pretty much obvious it was going to be either Motley Crue or Bon Jovi. You know, that was at the time they were like the biggest. Even though Ozzy was on the bill, he played. He played after us, so it was. I think it was usually Gorky Park, Skid Row, then us, and then Ozzy, and then Motley and Bon Jovi, and Scorpions was in there somewhere. I think I think Scorpions had actually toured in the USSR at that point a few times, so they were actually kind of a fan favorite for that venue, I guess. So, but they were, kind of like Ozzy, Scorpions, and us. We were just kind of mixed in the middle somewhere.
And when you came onto the stage, was it 100,000 people, I believe? Or was it more?
They said like 140,000.
Oh, wow.
That was their... But it was a pay-per-view, and at the time, I believe they said it was televised to 1 billion people.
Wow!
So that was like probably the largest audience any of those bands have ever played to. But it was, and you go out, but those kind of shows, it's like seems like a great thing, but the closest like audience member to you is like Lord, like they're like 100 yards away. It's really far. It's like, and Monsters of Rock is kind of the same way. The stage is so tall. It's like you're like 20 feet tall, and you're like probably at least 50 or 60, like, or probably I don't know, 50 or 60 yards away from where like where the front row is. It's like you're really separated, but it's a cool system. It's a cool experience because you look out and it's like this huge like sea of people, and and you're playing and you're watching them going up and down. It's kind of surreal.
When you first came onto the stage and saw all those people, what was your initial reaction? Did you know that 1 billion people watching you at that time, or did you get told after? But yeah, what was your initial reaction?
Well, we were told after about the 1 billion people. We knew it was a pay-per-view event, and and we knew it was like this huge. But we've played like the huge crowds before. I mean, I think the Monsters of Rock shows that we did in '87, that was with Bon Jovi and Dio and Metallica. I think those shows was around 200,000 each, and which is a ton of people. But once again, it's like there's no like intimacy. You don't get a lot of like audience interaction, and that's, I mean, honestly, I prefer playing like small bars, where you have interaction like directly with your audience. And that's, to me, is actually more fun. It's more fulfilling, but it's an amazing experience playing a huge venue. It doesn't suck. Was that movie Arthur? It was like, you ever been on a yacht? Doesn't suck. It's kind of falls in that category.
Yeah, I've had a few people tell me they rather play in like small club shows. It's more interaction, like louder because it's inside and just a bit more crazier. But yeah, I've just always imagined, because I've never interviewed someone that has been on the Peace Festival. I just wanted to know what it was like how loud everyone was, because there's not many stories about that. There's snippets here and there, but I wanted to hear someone that actually was playing on the stage.
Yeah, it was definitely loud, and that's one thing that it's because it had to be, because the stage was like so big, you had to be able to do it, and then when you go off, you're in front of the PA. It's like ungodly loud, because it has to project to people at the back of this like stadium. So, but yeah, it was a cool event. It was like very different. Like we toured with Bon Jovi, and we had toured with the Scorpions, and but we're friends with the Skid Row guys and Motley guys, but we had never done a show with them, so it was kind of cool to all be on the same bill. And then and then before and after the show, like hanging out and just I don't know, it was a good experience.
Was it like a good what's the word, like a good vibe backstage with all the bands coming together, just talking about, what do you remember you talking about with all the guys from like all Motley, from Ozzy and all that?
Oh, geez. Well, I'm mainly like complaining about the food, and like how hungover we are. And just typical like crap, cutting up, telling jokes or whatever, it's just, like I said, on the plane ride back, it's just like, I remember like Fred and I sat in front of Sharon and Ozzy, And I was like a fly on the wall just listening to him, like, kind of, just, he was a little grumpy and he just wanted to get home, I think. And everybody was like all like hyper and running around. And he was like talking about how stinky people were. It was just funny. Like he's Ozzy, his mumbly voice, stinky bastards. It was just fun. I like kind of wish I could have like recorded everything at the time, but like we didn't have cell phones back then, so it wasn't so easy,
Well, at least it was pay-per-view, so it was filmed, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've watched like you guys play, or like Bon Jovi or Motley Crue. It just looked incredible, and you guys sounded amazing on stage. Even if like the live, it just sounded top notch. But I'm surprised everyone was running around on the plane after a week in like the USSR. After a few big a big event like that, and having a shower. I thought everyone would be like hungover and tired, but.
Oh no, everyone's like, well, I mean, some of us were just kind of just like, okay, we just want to sleep, and but there was like some of them were all still all high on the whole experience and running around like kind of like little kids. It's kind of funny. Because
you would have been in your like young 20s maybe, or late 20s.
No, well, I'm the oldest in the band, so I was 28.
Okay.
At that time, yeah.
You started playing music when?
Oh, geez, probably picked up my first guitar when I was like probably 7 or 8, and my dad was a guitar player. He played country music and taught me like the basic chords, and I kind of just took it from there. Never took lessons, and I played guitar like through my teen years, and I switched to bass when I was 17. I actually wanted to start out early on with a bass, and I actually ordered one from a catalog. I remember waiting forever for this thing to come. I was like, I want a bass, and it came in, and I took it out. I was like plucking around on it, and I was like, this sucks.
Oh, really?
I couldn't play anything.
You didn't like it?
Play anything.
Yeah, true.
No, it wasn't like you could like strum chords. It's just like single. Boom, boom, boom. It's like, and I didn't have an amp, and it was like an electric bass, and I was like what the hell? And I think I traded it for a guitar like early on, for like an electric guitar early on, and and I stuck with the guitar. But when I was 17, the guy that I went to high school with was an amazing player, and he was playing in one of like the biggest like local club bands at the time. Like it was a southern rock band that he was in, and he was forming a new band and needed a bass player but couldn't find one, and asked me, he said, would you want to just kind of play with us until we find a bass player? I'm like, sure. So he had a bass, and so I started playing. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of cool. So I traded my Strat in for a Rickenbacker, and boom, became a bass player. And after playing with him, God, in no time I was playing in like four or five different bands. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is for me. So,
Well,
so I just ran with it.
Well, that's interesting, because I was gonna bring up a topic, because a few weeks ago I watched something about Tom Keifer. He was in many bands when he was younger, a lot of cover bands, and I was going to ask, was that the same for you? But from what you've told me, it kind of is, playing in a lot of bands, yeah. And then you guys met in a toilet?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like, yeah, I'd actually, at the time, I had, it was just before Halloween, I guess this was 1980 or 1981. And I lived in Ocean City, Maryland. It was a beach town, and a friend of mine myself and a friend of mine had a parasailing business, and we were the only ones in town doing it. And it was, we had done that. I hadn't played in a band, for like months, and I didn't even have any gear, because I think I sold everything so we could like start this business. And so the summer was over. It was late October. I mean, we were squatting in the apartment. We hadn't paid rent in a couple months, and they actually shut the power off. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that kind of sucks. So I walked up the street to this bar that I always went to, because I figured, well, I could go in and, probably, I'm friends with the bartender, would slip me a couple beers or whatever, and I'll watch the band or whatever. And so I was there, and I guess this band that Tom was in, called Saints in Hell, was going to do a Halloween show the next night. And they were all in town. They were from Philadelphia, which is 2-3 hours away. And, they were just kind of walking around. Now, this band wore makeup. This is, pre-Wasp and Motley Crue. It was like the blacked out cheeks, and it's, you can find some pictures on the internet. You could, post them and show it. But anyway, I saw these guys walking around. I was like, okay, whatever. So, so I had to go in the bathroom, like I'm taking a leak, and two of the guys were in there talking about something. I wasn't really paying attention, but apparently they were bitching about their bass player. Next thing I know, like, there was a slap on my back. It was like, hey, do you play bass? And I turned around. I was like, yeah, I do, actually. And they were like, oh, really? So they were like, and then so we got to talk, and they were like, well, why don't you come down tomorrow morning and see? And that, now, granted, at this time, I hadn't like touched the bass in like probably 4 or 5 months. I was like, great. So I show up, and they get, their bass player was still sleeping. So I used his bass and amp, and we played some Kiss songs and Judas Priest, and they were like, you got the gig, you're in. I'm like, cool. So, and that's how I met Tom. And like, they played their gig. The next day, I jumped in the car with them and went back to Philly with them, and that was it. So, you never know, the right place at the right time. If I didn't have to take a piss, there probably would be no Cinderella.
Yeah, and then a few weeks or months, you and Tom formed Cinderella. And I've heard, Tom's work ethic was incredible. Apparently he worked from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then just played songs with you and some other people. How did you see his work ethic?
Well, we did it. Him and I, we're in a couple different cover bands, and which the Saints in Hell, we had a few originals, but it was mainly covers. And then he left that band, and I followed shortly after. I was like, and joined the band he was in, and we gigged for like a few months, and we just got to talking. We're like, I know you write songs, I write songs. We really should just do our own original band, and like quit this, just get jobs, and we took that leap of faith, and we moved back home. I couldn't afford to stay up in Philly, so I moved back down to Maryland, stayed with my family, got a job, and we both worked. We got together about once a month, and I wrote songs and worked on that. And that's how Cinderella started. And when I moved back to Philly, in the meantime, I got married, and so we moved back to Philly with my wife's family. We lived with them. I got a job. Well, we all got it. The original members of Cinderella, we all worked the same job. We delivered 24-hour film service, photo service. So this is back before digital cameras. You would take pictures, he'd drop them off at the local pharmacy, and your pictures would be ready miraculously the next day. And it's like we had film routes, so we would, I'd drive for 6-7 hours a day, and then as soon as our shift was done, we went to a rehearsal hall, and we rehearsed till like late in the night. Went back home, got up, drove our film. That's how we did it, and we did that for about 3 or 4 years before we got a record deal. We and we would play on the weekends. During the week, it was like all rehearsing, writing, and we would record when we had the money to do it. And that's how we did it.
Before we talk about the record deal, your first record deal, I just want to touch on the original band members, Tony Destra and Michael Kelly Smith, who later left Cinderella and formed Brittany Fox. But how did you guys pick those two guys up?
Mike actually was Tom's replacement in Saints in Hell when Tom left. And so that's how, and I think Tom and Mike had played in a previous band. So when I talked to Tom about working with him after he left that band, he took me and Mike up. So it was me, Tom, and Mike were like in the Priscilla Harriet band. It was called the Singers. Her name was Priscilla Harriet, and we had a different drummer. And we basically were going to leave Priscilla and just do our original with that drummer. And but he didn't want to do it. He was like, he'd rather like play covers and make his money doing that. We're like, well, we're going to work jobs and write music and play our own music. And at that time, in our whole Philly area, you either play covers or you don't play. So we were taking like a big chance, even at that. So that's why he didn't do it. And I don't know how we found Tony. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Tom or Mike knew him. I'm not sure exactly how he came into the picture, but we needed a drummer, and boom, there was Tony. And he was a great drummer. He was a cool guy, but he was a little older than us. I think at the time, I guess we're talking, this was probably 1983. I was the oldest. I was 23, and Tony was probably 30 at that point, or close to it. So he was a little older, and we started our gigs and got more. Well, I'll kind of rewind a little bit. When we had like enough material like to actually play out, Tony was friends with a popular band in the area, and they agreed like to have us do like a short set to open. Like we had like a 4-song set at a club, and that was our first gig. And so we did that, and the response was like great. And then I think they asked us back like a couple more times, and this other club wanted us to play. So he had an idea. He said, we had to come up with the name Cinderella. He's like, well, how about you play at my club on Saturday nights at like midnight, the whole Cinderella thing. We're like, okay, cool. So that's what we started doing. And we built a following, and we packed the place every Saturday. And we eventually started rehearsing in the attic of that nightclub. So we had a free place we could rehearse in. So it was a win-win. But that was Tony Destra. He kind of like, was very instrumental in like getting our start as far as, playing live in the local scene. But then unfortunately, like when we started getting label interest, and and the deal was offered to us. The label did not. They thought Tony was too old, and they didn't like Mike. They thought we could do better, and we actually did a 6-month development deal with them, and which we're taking a chance of losing this deal by doing it, but we're like, look, they're our band members, and so we. We demoed more songs, and I guess they weren't happy with their look or whatever, so we tried to change it. And when they came back, they were like, look, guys, we still feel the same. So here's the deal. We want you and Tom, and, that's it. And we're like, well, we had to make that decision, and we did. And we auditioned, and we got Jeff LaBar, and who played in a band that opened for us a lot. And he was like this little maniac guitar player. We're like he's perfect, and he fit the bill perfect. And we got a different drummer, Jimmy Durnick, who had played in some of the biggest bands in the scene, on that scene. And he was great guy, great drummer. And we're like, this is it, and that's the band that the record label gave the thumbs up, and we moved forward. And unfortunately, we got into studio recording the first record, and Jimmy, the drummer, Jimmy Durnick was his name. The producer wasn't happy with him, and we're like, look, we had to let Tony go. He was our drummer for 4 years. You've been with us for a few months. It's like, we're like, sorry, but we had to get a session player to record the first record. So that's how that ended up. And then we had to do auditions and get a permanent drummer. And that's when we got Fred Corey. We auditioned a ton of drummers, and Fred actually Tom was in L.A. Mixing the Night Songs record, and it was Jeff and I auditioning drummers, and Fred came in. He knew the entire record verbatim, and we're like, this guy's perfect. So we hired him on the spot. Actually, we hired him, and Tom hadn't even met Fred yet.
Oh wow!
It was interesting, but it was but it was obvious he was the right guy.
And then that's how Cinderella was formed, basically.
It was.
But you guys were close to getting Eric Singer, or you auditioned him. What was the story there?
Who?
Eric Singer?
Eric Singer?
Yeah.
I don't even. Well, I think that was a later thing, because we had a little some internal problems with Fred, and frankly, we fired him. I fired him.
Oh.
But I don't think he's ever forgiven me for that. But anyway, I fired Fred, and we auditioned a ton of drummers, a lot of big name drummers, a lot of unknown drummers, and that was a whole nother round. But
and you also auditioned a lot of guitarists, Dave Snake Sabo from Skid Row, also.
Yeah. It actually came down to Dave and Jeff, and we really wanted Jeff, and we knew. I mean, Jeff was a great performer, great player, and Dave was a great player, and he was friends with John Bon Jovi, who was instrumental in getting us the record deal to start with. So we felt politically we really should hire Dave Sabo, and we really liked Dave, but he bugged the living crap out of us. I mean, he called me and Tom 10 times a day. Do I have the gig? Do I have the gig?
Oh, wow.
To the point where we're just this guy, if he's in our band, he's going to drive us freaking nuts. So we're so finally we're like, no, I'm sorry, but you don't have the gig. But it was, I mean, he probably would have had the gig, which is kind of weird if he didn't bug us so much. But,
oh, wow.
but that opens up a whole thing, because Dave was the primary songwriter for that band. So a lot of those Skid Row songs could have been Cinderella songs. You know, could have been a completely different band.
Everything could have been different.
Yeah.
Different change.
Imagine Tom singing Monkey Business.
I remember you, 18 and Live, all those songs, Big Guns. Oh, man. And also, you guys were good friends with John, and he maybe helped you guys get into a record deal. But there was something with Gene Simmons also.
Yeah, well, that's some history too. It's like before John, there was Gene Simmons, because Michael Kelly Smith, which Mike Shermick is his name. That's how I know him. But anyhow, Mike auditioned for Kiss back when they got Vinnie Vincent, and it was like he was kind of like the runner up. So he had contact with like Gene, and Gene liked Mike and so and so. So Mike sent demos like to Gene, and he wanted to meet with us, and we met with Gene in his New York apartment, and which is really crazy because no one had seen Kiss without their makeup at that time, and then we're like, wow, that's Gene Simmons without makeup, and we're in his living room.
What was your initial reaction to seeing him without makeup? Were you just like, wow, this is you?
we were all just kind of shitting ourselves. We're like, holy crap, because we're huge Kiss fans. And but he was just kind of a mellow, like soft-spoken, kind of almost normal guy. It was funny. He was fixated on like Tom's sneakers, which were falling apart. And he was like, do you need some glue for those shoes?
Like the soles are coming off.
Yeah. It is like, so it was weird. So Gene, he was like, yeah, I think you guys really have something. I like the look, and and then he wanted to push his songs on us to record his songs, and we didn't like any of them. We're like, it's probably songs that they were not his best songs. Would have went to Kiss, obviously. So we were like, kind of like, like we blew off Gene Simmons. We're like, no, sorry. Which could have been a record deal, but we didn't want to play. We didn't want to record his songs. We wanted to record our songs, and that's what we did.
Yeah, which is valid.
But but I mean, I guess he understood. I don't know, but I mean, we've remained friends with him, and I've run into him many times since, and and he's always been great. But then we just continued on, and then I guess like one night, John Bon Jovi was in town in Philly recording his second record, 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit, and they had a night off, and they came out and they saw us play. And I remember them coming backstage like after the show, like, man, you guys are great. And we're like, yeah, you're the Little Runaway band, right? And I mean, didn't really think anything of it. Well, he went back to his A&R guy at his label and said, look, you need to go see this band. And his A&R was like, I've heard their demos, they suck.
Oh, wow.
Which our demos did. They sounded like, they did not sound good at all. They were not good.
I heard the Shake Me demo. I've heard that one, and I've posted it.
Yeah, well, that was a polished one. Their straight demos were not very good. But anyhow, he got the guy to come down to see us, and the guy came down. He's like, "Wow, John was right." He said, and that's when the whole thing started, where he didn't really like the guitar player and drummer, and we kind of worked with him for like a while. And then they were like, "Well, look, you replace these guys, and we'll do like a development deal once we're happy with the lineup." And that's what we did. So it was like kind of it was a process. And at the end of the day, like we inked the deal, but the deal was just me and Tom. So Jeff and Fred, Fred wasn't in the scene. Jimmy was, but No, we were. They only signed the two of us, so that was it. So, and that's how it came. And then by the second record, like the other guys were signed to the label, and as it should be. Probably read it in other interviews before anyway, but just I don't know. Everyone remembers things differently. That's why I brought up the whole Mandela effect thing. It's like, it may not be that. Who knows?
Man, honestly, if I was, 50, 60, man, I wish I was in the 80s, just experiencing it all. I've definitely missed out, but I'm here now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a wonder that a lot of us even made it out of the 80s,
Yeah, I've heard from a few documentaries, like the shit you guys have done is just absolutely mental, and the stories I've heard are just absolutely crazy. It's like, if this was like, if someone did this like now, it would be all over the news, but it was just normal back then.
Yeah, and it's like, there was a lot of partying, and we were not like, like the, like a lot of bands into drugs and whatnot. We did our fair share of drinking though. So I got a bottle of Cuervo 1800 every show, and I drank it like iced tea. It
just went down the gullet easily.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, well, whatever, okay, I'm good now. But it's like, it's a wonder that we made it. Yeah, made it through, or a lot of us made it out of the 80s,
Yeah, a lot of you guys did. Yeah. Man, it looks like a lot of fun. I look back on the shows and the crowd, and it's just, it looks mental. Even your shows, you and Jeff's, I don't know how you guys do it, where you like spin the instrument around your neck, like the guitar and bass. How?
Yeah, well, we learned that from a band in New Jersey called the Dead End Kids. And those guys, they were the masters of it. And, I mean, like, we did it, but we're, honestly, Jeff and I were hacks. I mean, these guys, like, Georgie Rumble was one of the guitar players, and Kelly James was the other guitar player. And those guys spun those guitars like there was no tomorrow. I mean, like multiple. They give it one push and just spin it around like a hula hoop. It's like, how the hell do these guys do that? I think it was the drugs did it, but
yeah, because
that's why they never went anywhere. But they were awesome, and that was one of the things that they did, and we took that from them. We learned how to do it, and we kind of got famous, and we're one of the first. Like, we weren't the first, I don't think, but one of the first to do it.
Was it easy to do, or was it hard to learn?
It was both. I mean, I had a bass that wasn't balanced properly, so I dislocated my shoulder doing it, which was like not fun. I grabbed the headstock, spun it around, and then the body of the bass hit me under the shoulder blade and dislocated my left shoulder. And and you get banged in the head a few times, but once you get it down, it's like, I mean, I could show someone to do it. They could do it in like 5 minutes. Actually, my ex-wife, who was a singer in my side band, Naked Beggars, she was asked to play the part of a guitar player in a Martina McBride video. And I taught her how to spin this. She actually used Jeff's guitar. And I taught her how to do it in like 5 minutes, and she spun it in that video, which is pretty cool. Have like a rock singer, like playing a girl rock singer playing a guitar player spinning her guitar in a country video.
Hell
that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's sick ass.
But once you know how to do it, it's very easy. So.
Yeah, it looks like second nature to you. I saw in the Somebody Save Me music video, you just doing back to front, live show, back to front. I wanted to try it once, but I was always scared that it would just fly off and break into the wall, or the headstock would hit my head.
Well, that's happened to me like quite a few times. I had a lot of times you have to bolt the strap on, but even at that, sometimes the screws rip out. Happened to me on the when we opened for the Scorpions in Germany, like back in the late '80s. And I went to spin it and just like strapped the screws ripped out, went flying across the stage. Actually, is back in I guess it was 1995. Not five. I'm sorry, 2005. We did the Rock Never Stops tour, summer tour. We were headlining, and I rarely spin it like the opposite way. I usually grab the headstock and go like clockwise with it. But I did it the other way, and like when I did, I don't know. I guess my left arm was up too high, and it just came completely off. And I played live with a '59 Fender B bass worth about $20,000. It went flying out into the audience, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Well, Robbie Crane, who played bass with Rat, saw it happen. He saw the guy grab the bass and start running for the exit. And Robbie went out and tackled the guy and said, "Give me the bass back." And he's like, "No, man, he threw it out." And he's like, "Dude, give me the fucking bass." So Robbie Crane got my '59 B bass back from this guy.
So some guy nearly just stole your bass.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The guy was like, "Oh my god!" It's like, yeah, it's a $20,000 like vintage bass. It's like it's not a drumstick, you know.
Yeah, that's expensive
like,
instrument.
Yeah,
that is expensive.
Yeah, it's like So yeah, needless to say, I've not spun a bass that direction since.
Fair enough. After that, I wouldn't try.
I only go grab the headstock and go clockwise with it. You know, did a local show. A friend of mine does this rare hair, it's called, and I played and I spun it during that show. But yeah, it was maybe 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
You know, once in a while.
Once in a while.
The acoustic shows, I probably will not be
so
spinning
much.
it November 11th.
No.
But you never know. I might.
If someone yells it out, you never know.
Yeah. Spin your bass. I'll be like, okay. There you go.
No,
well, maybe I could work that into the whole like auction thing, you know? Be like, all right, how about every time I spin my bass, everybody here donates $20. How about that?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh man, too funny. But I want to get back on to the first record and your first major tour. You started with, I don't know if you started with, but you toured with David Lee Roth, and there was was also a little incident where, you know, your music got bigger and the management didn't want you guys to speak as much.
Yeah, well, that was our first major tour. Our first tour was actually with the Japanese band Loudness and Poison. There was Poison and Cinderella kind of flip-flop opening slots on that, and that tour was scheduled to be, I think, like a 3-month tour. And I think 2 weeks into it, we got the the David Lee Roth tour. And we're like, you know, so we did about 3 or 4 weeks with Loudness and Poison. That was our first tour, and then we went right to the David Lee Roth tour. But we were doing kind of like large clubs and theaters with that first tour, and then we got the David Lee Roth tour. I remember it was Hampton Roads, Virginia, was the first show we did. And we walked into like the arena and we're like, holy shit. and honestly, it was such a sensory overload. I don't remember playing that show whatsoever. It's like, I don't remember even playing it. It was literally like that mind blowing. It's like, because I mean, you have to understand too, David Lee Roth's production was like ridiculous. Yeah, it was like, I mean, it was like, I don't know how many thousands of like lights he had and huge stage. And so, I mean, and we did our first shows, and that's Cinderella's, like, we were gaining like momentum. I think our like the Shake Me video was like the number one video on MTV and all this crap. We had, I think by the time I think within our first week of touring, I think our record had gone gold and made even gone platinum within like the first month. We were with David Lee Roth, and we were doing good, and then David Lee Roth was old school Van Halen. Used to always take really crappy opening bands and all that and whatever. So he had us, and we were obviously selling tickets, but he did not want to be upstaged.
He wants to be the main guy.
Things started getting cut. We got less stage, got less lights, less PA, less merch items. We were down to one T-shirt that we were allowed to sell.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, that was like, not cool, but nothing we could do about it. But we were still playing in front of 15,000 people a night, So, and that was selling records, and we ended up selling over 3 million records on the night songs. So
that's incredible. Did you ever think that would happen? Just like, that's an incredible amount of people number, like 3 million and a platinum deal. Did you ever think that would happen? Like, once you released that album, did you ever think it'd reach that high?
You didn't really think of it in numbers. I mean, we were, we're always, like we wanted to be Aerosmith, or whatever, but, and, sell 1 million records, but, you don't really expect that. But when it happens, you're like, oh shit, okay. This is actually happening. This is cool. But we did the David Lee Roth tour, and that was great. I think we were on for probably 6 or 7 months, and then Bon Jovi came out with "Slippery When Wet," and it exploded. I remember while we were still on David Lee Roth, Bon Jovi was opening for 38 Special in some of the same venues. And, we'd see like David Lee Roth, special guest Cinderella, and then be like 38 special guest Bon Jovi. And we're like, that's kind of cool. And then when their, I guess that first video came out, like their album exploded, and they regrouped and, planned a headline tour, and we were the first opening act on it. So, and we were like, thank God. And John, he gave us like everything. It was just like, thank you. Cause by that time, with David Lee Roth, Tom was only allowed to come out, say hello, the name of the band, and then say goodnight at the end of the show. If he spoke anything else, we were off the tour. And we're like, wow, okay. And we were like, we had like 2 feet of stage. We had like, it was ridiculous. And so, and at that time, we were up to like 2 million like albums sold. So it was like, we're like, thank you, John, for letting us actually do our show. And then we did Slippery When Wet, I think, for probably like another 6 or 7 months at least. And and that was great. And then by that time, we were just completely spent. And we had to get back in the studio and record the next record. So, because I guess, with going to Europe and doing all that. And, we were out, I think, for 18 months on that first record. So, and we came right off the road, right into the studio, and we recorded and right back out again.
Tom, I saw Tom wrote a lot of the Long Cold Winter songs on the first tour, seeing all the different things and changing his mood. And did you also do the same, or was that just mainly Tom?
We're both writing. I had a little portable studio out with me and writing and demo. I didn't get any of my songs on the first record, and second record, it was like I got one co-written song, and that was it. And that's what it was subsequently. So, that's, just the way that went too. So,
And
but all the songs for Long Cold Winter was written, as we toured, because we didn't use any of the leftover songs from the first record on the second record. They were all new, fresh songs. Like when we recorded night songs, we had, I think, 60 or 70 songs to pick from, and so we have 50 or 60 leftover songs that, they're floating around the internet now in different versions or whatever. I don't know how they got out, but a lot of our demos are compiled on bootleg records out there.
Have you thought about maybe doing all you guys come back together? Obviously not Jeff, but you three guys coming back together and doing releasing something like that, like a demos, like other bands are doing now?
No, well, like I said, they're already out. There's no way to make them any better than they are, and so it's there's really no point, if for some odd reason, if we ever did get back together or would like to do something, we probably would only be in the capacity of playing live shows. We probably wouldn't record anything new, and we probably wouldn't. This is all conjecture, but I doubt we would go back and re-record any of our previously written songs.
But do you still talk to the guys, and if you don't talk to guys, do you still talk to John, because you guys seem to be good friends back then?
Yeah. Well, I talk to Fred every once in a while. It used to be every couple of weeks or so, but we text back and forth, but physically call and talk to him. Maybe a handful of times a year. Tom, I rarely talk to him. I talked to him a little bit after Jeff passed away, and then life takes over. So you just don't talk. I really haven't talked to him in a year, probably. So
that sucks to hear, man. Well, I hope you guys, as a Cinderella fan, and a lot of Cinderella fans out there, I think they would agree with me. We all hope you guys do something in the future, something small. It doesn't have to be big, but if it doesn't happen, there's a lot of good memories and a lot of good footage of you guys back in the day.
Well, I would be open to it. It's just, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Tom's very happy with what he's doing, and and I support him. It's great if you're happy doing what you're doing. I'm happy for you. And then, like me, I hope he's, I'm just doing what I want to do, and that's kind of, just focusing on family and home life, and I just play when I want to play for fun, and and I write songs just to, I don't know if you write songs, they're in your head. You just have to get them out, So it's just a thing,
No, I agree with you. You're saying Tom seems to be doing great with his solo stuff. I haven't seen him live. He hasn't come down here, but if he does, I'm definitely going to go see him. And I've talked to Fred every once in a while on Instagram. I wanted to do an interview with him, but he was doing something with another band. I don't know what it was. I think it was with Ozzy. And he seems to be doing well. You guys seem to be all doing your own thing, and if you're happy, that's the main thing.
Yeah, Fred, he filled in for Kelly Keegy in Night Ranger. I think Kelly, I don't know if he had a surgery or if he injured his arm or something, and Fred went out and was a fill-in drummer for a while. And he's he played with Guns N' Roses, when Adler hurt himself, way back in the day on their first record. So he's filled in with a lot of people, and but his main gig now, he does music for television, and he has a couple of network shows, a lot of cable shows, and yeah, that's his main focus. He did the orchestration for Ozzy's last single, "Gods of Rock and Roll," and yeah, I mean, he's doing really well. He's happy. He's doing what he loves to do. So I'm really happy and proud of what he's doing. I think that's great. He, when Tom went and did his solo, he went off to do his solo career. And Fred went back to college. He went to Berkeley and got his degree in film scoring, and came out and landed like a couple shows, and yeah, he's been off and running, doing that ever since.
Yeah, I've seen some things he's been posting about that, actually. Yeah, I completely forgot about his acting career. He seems to be doing really well in that. In a show that I used to watch on Netflix, I think it's The 100 or something like that. I'm not quite sure.
No. He did The Ark.
Oh, The Ark. That's right. Yes.
NBC. Yeah.
The Ark. Yeah, I watched.
And he's still doing that. Then he has like some other. I don't know if it's Love Island or one of those kind of shows he does the music for. So.
Oh wow, yeah. And I knew about his stuff with Hollywood Roses before you boys, and yeah, he seems to be doing. Tom's doing well.
And he also does. Fred also does. He does like the house music for arenas for the LA Kings, I think the Trailblazers, the Detroit Pistons. He does like like when you go to a game, like music that plays during and like in between periods or whatever. That's Fred. He does that, and actually, he's been with the LA Kings for a long time. He actually has a Stanley Cup ring because he was part of the team when they won the Stanley Cup. So yeah, he's not done too bad. He's won at least one Emmy, maybe two, for his television scoring. So he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about his the sports side of things. I knew about the acting and the music, but then obviously Jeff was doing his own thing, and then you seem to be like incognito for a few years off social media. I'm not sure.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't really do many interviews because I don't really have much to actually promote. I don't have a solo record. I'm not actively in a. I mean, even though I played with Bret Michaels for 5 years, it was just as a hired gun. I'm just his bass player. It's like it wasn't like we're a band actively like recording or anything. He's a solo artist, and I'm part of his backup band. So I didn't really have anything to really push. So, and then when I got done that, like I said, I semi-retired, and I guess I'm in full retirement now. So I just play when I want to play. If it's something local, it's fun. Or I got a friend out in St. Louis that owns a bar. I go out and play with him, once or twice a year, just to go and have some beers and kind of play old Cat Scratch Fever and songs like that, whatever, just to have fun, and that's what these charity shows are. It's like I get together with old friends and we joke around, have a good time. We raise money for a good cause, and it's giving something back.
Eric, thank you for coming onto the show, man. I really appreciate it. Is there anything you would like to say before you go?
Just check out what I'm doing with the Rock for Hope show coming up in a couple weeks. Which I don't. By the time this airs, it might be next week. Who knows? But but anyway, go to treatmentrelief.org and read all about it. See what it's all about and what we're doing, and if you can contribute by entering in for the raffle, or you can donate money. It's always for a good cause. 100% of what's raised goes for that cause, and nothing goes in our pockets. It's all for that. So, and that's about it. Yeah.
Well, once again, thank you, Eric, so much, guys. Like Eric said, go to all the links in the description. Go check it out. Go sign up, and you might be able to win Eric's plaques. It's all going to an amazing cause. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. All the socials will be below. Go follow all Eric's accounts, and go follow the Rock for Hope site. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.